Ever think about ditching the desk job and becoming the ultimate defender against those creepy crawlies?
Sounds intriguing, right?
Today, we're taking a deep dive into the world of pest management workers, and we've got all the info from RoleCatcher. Want to see if this career path is the right fit? Let's find out.
Yeah, we're going way beyond just spraying some chemicals here. We're going to uncover what a pest management worker really does all day.
Yeah.
You might be surprised at the variety this job offers.
Okay, so let's unpack this. We've all seen them around, but what's a typical day actually look like for a pest management worker?
Well, it's a lot more than meets the eye. I mean, it's really a holistic approach to pest control. They're the ones identifying what those pesky intruders are, whether it's rodents in your attic or, insects in a park. And then they figure out the best way to treat it, the safest way. But it goes beyond that. They even spend time educating people on how to prevent these infestations from happening in the first place.
Oh, interesting. So it's kind of like being like a pest detective, a treatment expert, and an educator all at the same time.
Exactly. And that's a big part of what makes this career path so interesting. I mean, one day you could be dealing with a termite problem in somebody's house, and the next you're advising a restaurant owner on how to keep things hygienic and pest-free. Talk about variety, right?
For sure. So it's not just houses then. You could be working in restaurants, office buildings, maybe even like schools and hospitals.
Absolutely. This isn't some desk job. You're out there interacting with all sorts of people and facing new challenges constantly. Every single day is different.
And I bet the job security is pretty great. As long as there are buildings, there are going to be pests.
Just right.
RoleCatcher seems to agree they're predicting a high demand in this field, which is good news if you're looking for stability. But like any job, it's got its ups and downs. What would you say are some of the biggest perks?
Well, a lot of people are drawn to the flexible work schedule. Now, it's not necessarily working from home in your pajamas, but you often get to have a say in your hours,
Yeah.
which can be amazing for work-life balance.
Yeah, that's huge.
And some pest management workers even start their own businesses, which gives them even more flexibility and earning potential.
Okay, so flexible hours, you could be your own boss. That's pretty appealing. But let's be real, it can't all be sunshine and roses. What about the not-so-fun parts of the job?
Yeah, of course. Well, working with hazardous chemicals is something to consider. You've got to be comfortable handling those responsibly, putting safety first. And honestly, not all pests are created equal. Some of them can be really unpleasant to deal with.
Yeah, true. You definitely need a strong stomach for this line of work. What about the physical demands? Is it a physically demanding job?
It definitely can be. You might find yourself crawling under houses, going into attics, carrying heavy equipment. It's not for everyone, but if you like a job that keeps you active and challenges you physically, this could be a good fit.
So if you don't mind a little, or maybe a lot of hard work, and maybe even a little bit of adventure, this could be the perfect career path. But what about moving up in the world? You start as a pest management worker, but where do you go from there?
Okay, so let's say you're sold. You're ready to trade in that desk chair for a sprayer and get your hands dirty metaphorically, of course.
Well, maybe a little literally too.
That's true. So how do you actually get started in this field?
Well, that interview is make or break, and RoleCatcher had some interesting tips on that. Like imagine you're asked about your experience with, pest identification and treatment.
So,
What's your strategy going to be?
right, because what do you say if you don't exactly have years of formal experience under your belt yet?
That's where you got to get a little creative. Even small experiences can say a lot about you, about your passion, your initiative. Did you ever help a family member, like, get rid of ants in their kitchen? Or maybe you research those eco-friendly pest control things for your own garden, stuff like that.
Yeah, those little anecdotes, they show you're genuinely interested even without, years on the job.
It's like you're already thinking like a pest management worker. You see a problem, you want to figure out what it is, and you take care of it.
Exactly. Okay, here's another curveball rule catcher threw out there. How you handle those safety protocols during pesticide application. It's not just about you, right?
No, not at all. You're dealing with some serious stuff.
Yeah,
It's a big responsibility.
for sure. They want to see that you get it, that you understand those safety protocols inside and out. It's about protecting yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but also the environment and the people living there. Any pets, everyone.
Right, right.
And that's where those certifications can really help you stand out. It shows you've gone the extra mile to you really learn those best practices.
It's that extra reassurance for those potential employers. They
Yeah.
know you're taking it seriously. Now, what about those customer interactions that might get a little tricky? I think RoleCatcher mentioned something about Dealing with complaints after a treatment. How do you handle that?
That's where those people skills really come into play. Imagine you've done a treatment, but a client's still seeing pests. They're not going to be happy, right?
You're going to have to be more than a bug expert. You've got to be a diplomat.
Exactly. Empathy is key there. Listen to what they have to say, acknowledge that they're frustrated, and then put your detective hat back on. Figure out what's going on. Why didn't that treatment work completely? Did you miss an entry point? Are there other things attracting those pests?
It's like a puzzle.
Yeah. It's all about problem solving and working together to get rid of those pests for good.
All right, so you've aced that interview. You're officially in, a pest management worker, ready to climb that career ladder. What's that journey actually look like?
So usually you'd kick things off as an entry-level pest management worker,
Yeah.
kind of like an apprenticeship,
Yeah,
right?
like learning the ropes.
Exactly. You're shadowing the pros, seeing how it's done in the real world, figuring out those different pests, getting comfortable with those safety protocols, all that good stuff.
Lots of hands-on experience at that stage.
Absolutely. It's all about the practical side of things, mastering the tools and techniques. And then as you get the hang of it, you'd move up to a junior pest management worker role.
Okay, so what changes when you hit that junior level? What are you doing differently?
That's where you start to spread your wings a little bit. You're doing those inspections on your own, deciding which treatment's best, maybe even giving clients advice on how to prevent problems down the line. You're not just following the leader anymore. You're making decisions, building those relationships with clients.
Oh, cool. So you're like the go-to pest expert now. What happens after that as you gain even more experience?
Well, that's when those leadership skills really come in handy. You might find yourself in a senior pest management worker position, leading a team, mentoring the newbies, maybe even planning out the pest control strategies for those bigger, more complicated jobs.
So instead of just tackling one house at a time, you're thinking about like pest control on a much larger scale.
Exactly. And if you're the kind of person who enjoys managing things, the next step could be a pest management supervisor role.
Now we're talking. What does a supervisor do exactly?
Well, as a supervisor, you're basically running the show, managing the teams, making sure everyone's following all the safety rules, really shaping how the company approaches pest management as a whole.
It's a lot more than just knowing how to identify a termite now.
It definitely is.
But for those who really love this line of work, there's that top rung on the ladder, becoming a pest management manager.
Now, that's the big leagues. You're setting the vision for the entire organization. You're the one developing those long-term strategies, managing the budget, building relationships with those key clients. It's a challenging role, but it can be incredibly rewarding, especially if you enjoy leading and motivating a team.
So you've gone from like learning how to get rid of ants to leading a whole team of pest management pros. That's quite a journey.
It is. And keep in mind, this is just a general path. Your journey is going to be your own. It depends on your goals, your motivation, and the opportunities that come up along the way.
And those certifications we talked about earlier, those can be super helpful at any stage, right?
Well, absolutely. They show you're serious about your career, that you're always looking to learn and improve, and that can definitely open doors to new opportunities and potentially higher salaries.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of pest management, here's something to think about. With all the new tech coming out, how do you see this whole field of pest control changing in the future?
Oh, that's a great question. I mean, we're talking drones that can spot infestations from the sky, AI that can identify different species in a snap. The possibilities are pretty mind-blowing.
It sounds like it.
If you're into science, you love solving problems, and you're not afraid of a little hard work, this could be the field for you.
I'd say so. Well, that's it for our deep dive into the world of pest management workers. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.